Old. Next was Neil.
Yep.
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 You didn't have your volume on.
All right, Carlson.
Here.
Luce.
Here.
Hadley.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Hey, we're all here, Mayor.
Sounds great. Okay, can you hear me okay?
No.
Can you hear me now?
Very faintly.
Very faintly.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
There you go.
Okay. I'm not in 6 feet of anybody, so I'll go this way for right now. Okay, the United Nations declared August 9th as an International Day of the World's Indigenous People in 1994. Since then, many states and cities and universities have adopted Indigenous Peoples Day to celebrate those who truly were the first to inhabit the Western Hemisphere and to draw attention to the lasting consequences of aggressive colonization of their land. Monday, October 12, 2020, is Indigenous Peoples Day for Decorah, a place named for Ho-Chunk leader celebrating Indigenous Peoples Day is an obvious step towards the recognition and inclusion of all people who have and continue to call this valley their home. I'm making this proclamation ahead of time so that we can strongly encourage people, organizations, schools, or whatever to be included in teaching of Indigenous peoples' history. So as mayor of Decorah, I declare the second Monday in October 2020 as Indigenous Peoples Day in the city of Decorah. We'll be sending out the proclamation. I won't read that whole thing. One other thing I want to note is Governor Reynolds had declared September 21st to the 25th Emergency Management Appreciation Week. Coordinators and staff and I wanted to recognize Sean Snyder and the people that work with him. Okay, is there any other things that people want to bring forth for the City Council that are not on the agenda? Seeing none, move on to the consent agenda, please.
Consent agenda consists of the minutes of the September 8th, 2020 regular meeting, claims, C3 Commercial Design Review, 207 Washington Street, the Clay Studio for repointing mortar, replacing bricks. Consider special requests from the Downtown Businesses Chamber of Commerce to install fall harvest decorations on light poles and street posts in the downtown district. Resolution 3125, a resolution authorizing purchase of a dump truck or snowplow for the airport and submitting reimbursement requests from the FAA CARES Act grant funding award. Grant award funding, grant number 3119-0025-014-2020. Resolution 3126, setting a date for a public hearing on an easement agreement with Woolen Mill for parking, October 5th, 2020. Change order number 1, Locust Road, additional removals and quantities to tie in driveways and Shady Lane, $23,876.00. Change order number 2, Locust Road, additional removals and changes in pipe removals versus plans, $12,355.00. Change order number 3, Locust Road, resolve conflict with poor sanitary sewer line and stabilize sanitary sewer, $15,941.52. Renewal special class C beer wine license for Luther College Center for the Arts, including Sunday sales, and approve fiscal 20 annual urban renewal report.
I have a motion for approval of the consent agenda.
Mayor, I would like to lift item D.
Consider special request from downtown businesses for fall decorations.
Correct?
Okay, we will move that down right after the consent agenda.
I'll second Randy's motion.
Steve.
Okay, roll call.
Chisholm,
Aye.
Carlson,
Aye.
Luce,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Neal,
Aye.
Hadley.
Aye. I'd move for approval of item D.
I can't hear Randy. It's hard to hear anybody there.
Okay. I would move for approval of item D on the consent agenda to consider a request to allow the downtown businesses to decorate for fall on the light poles and street posts.
What would that consist of?
If they wanted to put like fall decorations, corn stalks, maybe a pumpkin or gourds or something along them. And it's not on the street lights, it's only, or on the stop lights. It's only on the street lights and maybe the no parking poles from this time to that time. Just to get a little life into the downtown, they have lost, or will lose both educational homecomings this year. And they're just trying to come up with ideas to try and get people to get downtown and shop again. I came up at a retail meeting a week ago and I talked with Kate Rattenberg from Dragonfly Books and said I would get this on the agenda to see if we could move it forward to help them out. They want to do some window decorating and different things like that also. I would suggest the weekend of November 15th that all decorations have to be taken down so that they're not in the way for our trucks to put up any of the Christmas lights that'll be going up around that time, shortly thereafter. And this is all totally voluntary on the merchants and downtown people, no city involvement or funding with this at all.
When does it start?
Whenever they want to.
Steve, do you have a concern?
Who's responsible for when something gets shoved into the street?
Oh, like pumpkins?
Well, I would just suggest tying the corn stalk on there and doing some kind of decorating with that with ribboning, but you know, it's totally on them down there, whatever the retail committees downtown want to come up with.
And they're responsible for all the cleanup.
All the
and-
setup, all the cleanup, and I would suggest they have to be down by Monday, November 16th, so if they want to take them down on Sunday the 15th, the yard waste site would be open for any organic disposables out there. They could take them out there then when the traffic's light.
It seems like a reasonable request to me.
Sounds great.
Yep.
Uh,
Is anybody else on Zoom having a hard time hearing the council, or is it just my computer?
I can hear them, but they are muted, but I can distinctly hear what they're saying, but the volume's low.
Is your volume turned all the way up on your computer?
It is, yeah.
Kristen will check on this. Kristen will check on this end too.
Thank you.
Okay, so I have a motion by Randy, second by
Andy?
Andy. Roll call?
Chisholm,
Aye.
Carlson,
Aye.
Luce,
No?
Neal,
Aye.
Hadley,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Okay. Resolution 3127, a resolution authorizing installation of traffic control devices on Commerce Drive.
This is just no parking as you turn from Montgomery onto Commerce for that first.
Yeah, the gist of this is that the resolution would call for no parking on the south side of Commerce Street and painting yellow no parking lines, which is somewhat usual and customary on the extreme east end of Commerce near the intersection. And the intersection, if you think of an intersection as having kind of a triangle visual impairment zone, the yellow markings would kind of encompass that triangular area common at intersections. You'll see a map there. So City Engineer Brill is proposing 4 no parking signs. If you look at the aerial photography shown in his background notes. It doesn't necessarily line up, just because this is older photography and we have kind of a redesigned site plan for Quick Star, so it doesn't exactly match, but the dots on the map there are approximate. Jeremy's on the line, I think, if there's any
Yes.
comments for him, so.
This seems pretty straightforward. Is there any reason? Can anyone think of any reason why we wouldn't pass this?
I think it's a good idea, especially just because of the radius for truck traffic and whatnot.
It seems pretty logical.
So both the north and south side at the intersection of Montgomery?
Right, as shown on the map there.
Okay.
Yep.
I'd move resolution 3127.
Second.
Luce would second.
Any other further discussion? Roll call.
I got Carlson on that second.
Okay.
Hadley,
Aye.
Carlson,
Aye.
Neal,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Chisel,
Aye.
Luce.
Aye.
Discussion and possible action on a request to close 2 parking spaces at 101 West Water Street for outdoor seating, Impact Coffee.
So Impact Coffee has made the request to close 2 parking spaces on the north side of their building, south side of Water Street, for their customer use. And it'd be, as typical downtown, a small cafe table or a picnic table or something like that in the space for use of their customers. So that's their request, is for 2 spaces. When we talked about this, I think back towards the end of June, in a work session, we had talked about these types of requests, and the council at that time directed that requests come individually through specific request or application. And so you have 2 of them on the agenda tonight. Item number 7 here for Impact, and item number 8 for Donlin Pharmacy.
Brad, can you refresh my memory, Carlson, here? Did we set a sunset? Is there a sunset date on all the spots that we've allowed so far?
No, there hadn't been. So for example, the ones you have so far for Magpie Coffee and T-Box Bar and Grill, there had not been sunsets on those. Logic would dictate that when the weather turns, they're probably done, but there hadn't been a date.
Right. Yeah, obviously we'll have to have those cleared up for plows and whatnot.
Right.
And just to clarify, the address is 101 West Water that they are, but the parking spots are actually on Washington.
Well, for Impact, they are requesting the Water Street ones. For Donlin, they are requesting the
Okay,
Winnebago.
gotcha. Thank you. Okay, I'm looking for a motion.
So I make a motion to to close the 2 parking spaces on West Water Street for outdoor seating for Impact Coffee.
I'll second that, Johnson.
Do you have a deadline in mind or seasonal?
Well, we haven't done anything with the other folks, but I think maybe we should, for all of our parking spaces that we're doing, make it a seasonal, so that once snow comes, these parking spaces need to be taken back. The question is then what happens in the spring if they want to start, and I guess I'm open for a conversation there, but I don't know if we're ready to have that conversation, so I guess I'd just approve, in my mind, we should just approve this as we've approved others, and then have conversations about what we're going to do in the spring. If people have to reapply or how that works.
Well, it'd be staff recommendation that these would be seasonal requests and that
Yeah.
in the spring
Yes.
we'd revisit.
That makes sense to me.
Okay, any further discussion? Roll call.
Neal,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Carlson,
Aye.
Luce,
Aye.
Chisel,
No.
Hadley.
Aye.
Okay, discussion and possible action on a request to close 3 parking spaces at 205 West Water Street for reserved customer parking, Donlin Pharmacy.
And this one is a clarification that the spaces requested are on Winnebago Street. And to further clarify, Matthew Maker did put a letter in the council's background notes, and I'm sure you've seen that, and I clipped part of it for my background to the agenda. But to be clear, what Matthew is asking for, he has 1 space on permanent reservation that the council granted to him several years ago. He is looking for 1 additional space on either side of that permanent space. So for a total of 3 through this action on Winnebago. And Matthew's here in the audience if you have questions for him. He would release, so just to be clear too, there are cones set up for more than that number of spaces today. He'd release those upon this approval.
I am assuming that Matthew has a number of customers who still don't want to go into the store, and they're phoning in and they're delivering out to the curb. Is that the case, Matthew?
Kathy, do you want to come up to the microphone?
That is exactly the case. In fact, the number is higher.
You might have to get closer. Okay.
That's exactly the case. In fact, the number is higher than we had thought. There are 2 or 3 people every day who won't come in for anything, even a vaccine.
Right.
So we're giving
I
shots
believe
to
it's a
our-
reasonable request, and thank you for bringing it to us.
But there's other retailers along there too, or other service industries that need those parking too for their customers. And I've had complaints from those because you're blocking off half a block of parking right now.
We have been. We no longer need that much area, and we've been trying to work with the city to reduce it earlier.
Especially a handicap spot, because some of those other businesses need the handicap spots also. I would not allow a handicap spot to be reserved.
I agree with that. I had made a misinterpretation of a city employee's comment earlier that would be preferable to use a handicap. Chad and I spoke today and clarified that, so I'd prefer not to use a handicap spot, so I'm glad that my misinterpretation got corrected.
So it's actually only the one on the right of where you have your permanent one and the one on the left, and there's 3 additional ones there that are open to the public then?
Right, going north.
Okay,
Right, and of course, the handicaps remain open to the public.
that's correct.
As well.
That's correct.
I would support it. I watch Winnebago Street a fair amount, and the times that it's completely full are few and far between at this point, except during tax season. So I would be supportive.
Okay, any further discussion?
I was parked on that street today, waiting for a prescription, and the traffic, there was plenty of spaces on either side of me, and the traffic that was parked there was short-term and left, and so there's a fair amount of turnover, so I appreciate the service it provides, and I think it's a good perspective to take care of.
Okay. There's no other further discussion? Roll call?
We don't have a motion or a second, I don't.
I move to approve.
Hadley seconds.
So we have a motion by Carlson, second by Ross.
Motion by Johnson.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Johnson, Carlson, okay,
Hadley,
thank you. Okay, now roll call.
all right. Johnson,
Aye.
Hadley,
Aye.
Chisel,
No.
Neal,
Aye.
Carlson.
Aye.
Luce.
Aye.
Okay. Consider board and commission appointments. It looks like the only one yet to have an open seat is the Communication Utility Board. So we'll kind of wait and continue to hope that other people will come forth. Let's see, city manager report?
So as has become custom, I did put ordinance 1257 face coverings and the face covering mandate just under city manager council reports, just to see if there's any input or further discussion from the council, if you'd like to engage in hey, how are things going? Or, have we considered tweaking this? Now would be the time to just have some general conversation about that. And again, understand we're kind of working towards a November 15 date when you might more formally look at changes to the ordinance. So any questions, concerns, issues about how things are kind of rolling out?
I think Carlson here, I think the only thing that we kind of briefly discussed was whether or not to put 5 and under as opposed to 2 and under, because the WHO changed their wording, and I don't know if the CDC has adopted that language yet. Last time I checked, they had not, but that's really the only thing I can think of. I will say that the numbers at the high school where I work are pretty good thus far, and I think the face coverings and the hybrid model that they've adopted is working pretty well, and it looks like we're going to probably try in person starting on the 28th. So hopefully things go well.
I think given the WHO's stance on children, under 5, I think that's good enough for me to change ours to match, whether the CDC goes that direction or not.
I was in on Krista's report to the Board of Supervisors. There had been 19 new cases from this morning, I believe, or over the Friday, I think it was Friday. There's about 29 that are in isolation, which means that they are isolating at home and they check on them. Ozzy Haugen had 0 positive for the week. There have been 3 hospitalizations. You said something about either here or someplace else. They have not been able to really link the new cases to an event, so they're watching thus far and just encouraging continuation of the mask, clean hand washing, staying at home if you're sick, and 6 feet apart.
Yeah, I guess I think we're on the right track for sure, but I don't want to lose sight of the fact, and I guess I was going to say it when it came around to me, as a nation, we hit 200,000 deaths today, and I guess I am feeling a loss for people who've experienced the loss of a loved one, but I'm also very thankful that I feel like we've been proactive thus far, and I feel like right now we're doing well, so I'd like to continue with that trend.
Yeah, she also noted too that the potential for school opening and being in classes, and then Luther College coming back that first part of October, that we'll be watching for different statistics and how that goes.
All right, so we'll make those notes and we'll just kind of continue to make those notes and bring this to you more formally, like I said, around the first part of November. Otherwise, under my report, just to know that there's a lot of projects still going on around town. It seems like street projects really kind of ramped up here in the last couple of weeks. Each department head, if they don't say something tonight, they do have written reports in your Dropbox, so I'd draw your attention to those. Several of us participated in the Iowa League of Cities Conference last week, as such that it was online, but I think there were some very good sessions and classes as usual. We wouldn't expect anything less from the league. One thing that kind of stuck out for me was looking at Main Street or downtowns, especially in a COVID pandemic situation, and some of the things that they talked to us about. And Steve wants to talk about this a little bit in the committee meeting afterwards, but we have that downtown assessment coming up here at the end of the month. And I think there's some good takeaways there to put those two together. So I'm looking forward to that program. I guess actually it's just next week. So with that, I have nothing else, Mayor.
Do you want to just remind people who might be interested in Ward 5?
I'll let Wanda touch on that
Yeah,
since that's
sorry
kind of
about-
her
Okay, then I'll
thing,
send it
so.
down over to Wanda.
Yep.
Okay, just a quick reminder, the notice went in the paper last Thursday, the 17th, and we will be taking the letters of interest through October 1st. So anyone interested, please submit your letters.
Will you send those letters to the council when you get them so we have an idea of how many people are applying?
I mean, we can if you want us to send them as we get them.
Yeah, I'd like to see them as you get them, please.
All righty.
And you have one currently?
I have one currently.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. See. Looks like,
Okay, Michael's going to try to help you out here, Andy. Let's see if he can give it a whirl.
All right, we've got lots of projects continue to go on in the parks, and it's
Look at that.
amazing what you can do when it's not raining or flooding all the time. This is the time of year when we can get a lot of projects done. The grass quits growing quite as fast, and so it's a time when we really clean up things. This is a picture of the bathhouse at the pool. That is roughly 80-some years old right now. So, and it's got a fresh coat of paint and new sign up above, or refurbished sign up above, Decorah Municipal Pool. And we owed a lot of thanks to Craig Spildy, who is our maintenance man at the pool and leads lots of these projects. So, as you know, we've been doing a couple every year and still have lots to do up there, but we continue to make that a good facility for hopefully another many years. Some other things you might want to take a look at, I don't have any more pictures, but if you're out with family, the steps behind the park shop on Phelps Trail is just a completed project. That's part of the Iowa Great Places. And I would say that is maybe one of the prettiest spots in Decorah in the next 2 weeks here as leaves begin to turn and change. And it's absolutely stunning back there, and the steps are very nice now there too. Pulpit Rock has a nice new loop trail there. We've gotten rid of a lot of the steps on the bottom portion of that trail and reopened an old trail that used to go up there. We used volunteers from the Luther College cross country team, and it turned out great. And set it with pillars at the bottom, so there's a nice trail marker to where you start and can go all the way up and around above the sledding hill and come down. John Klosterboer has been doing the pillars, and he's now working at Dunning Springs to put pillars marking the entrance to Dunning Springs. So lots of those little projects, all part of the Great Places, and we're just picking them off one at a time.
Andy, how far north of the old trail for Pulpit Rock would you say the new pillars are?
150 yards.
Yeah, I just wanted people to be aware there's a little distance there.
Yep. So, and it's a much more user-friendly trail. This was the original trail. I don't know why it was ever abandoned. Probably a rock slide at one time, and but we've reopened it. There's some neat rock work along it as part of it.
Andy, did Decorah Human Power Trails have any part in the cross-country work day that they did, or were they not involved this year?
Well, yes, to some degree. I guess Steve Paschy's involved with that, and I think he jumps on it and for sure used the tools from the DHPT. And I don't want to short them at all. They've also got a trail project planned up in Van Penen here starting soon, and they are very helpful in all the trail work. Yeah, thanks.
I'd actually had walked behind the park shop, and I was amazed, and it's amazing the work that they've done as far as sturdying up the steps. They're solid blocks, and I'd encourage anybody to take advantage of walking along there now. Well, it's very beautiful.
Yeah, they look great, Andy, and my kids love them too.
Yeah, all the work's been fabulous.
Okay, thank you, Andy. Kristen.
Updates on the library. Right now, we are just getting ready to kick off the interior portion of our renovation project, which, as you know, is a series of projects that's been in the works since 2017. Today, we had a moving company on site that is relocating pretty much everything from the central and circulation office areas and the west side of the building, all the way over to the east side. So then the next step will be that they'll start tearing out flooring, repairing some ceilings, coming in to do some painting. We'll put flooring back down, move everything over there, and then we'll move everything from the east side to the west side and start again. So it's going to be quite an adventure. We're really happy that the moving company has done a really nice job planning things out such that we can have access to our collection during this time so we can continue our curbside services. As I mentioned in my press release that I put in the Dropbox, the work was delayed a little bit because of COVID manufacturing slowdowns and just sort of the complicated nature of scheduling multiple contractors that really have to work in a specific order. But we're very excited to get going. We can't wait to share progress photos with the public as we go along. I did email some out to you so you could see just the first little bit of moving excitement that we experienced today. And beyond that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have about any portion of the project.
Anybody have any questions?
Yes, Kristen, I think I'd speak for the whole council when I'd say that we're so happy you're having such a moving experience.
Wow, thanks, Steve.
Wow.
Yeah.
You were waiting all day for that one, weren't you, Steve?
Okay, thank you, Kristen. We'll look forward to seeing all the new changes. Okay,
And thanks for the picture she sent us.
I think Brett?
This is Brent from the police department. As far as the police department's concerned, we're pretty much business as normal. We do have some projects going on in the law enforcement center right now with emergency management, move and dispatch. I think today they started installing their flooring, which is great. In the new dispatch center also, the new 911 equipment is getting installed for this next week. So that's that process is going on. Outside of that, we're, like I said, we're pretty much business as normal. I do, however, want to publicly thank Jeremy Brill and his team. This last Saturday we had a power outage. Apparently a goose flew into some power transformer. 4,000 customers were out without power, and we had officers at Highway 9 intersections directing traffic at Short Street and the highway, which can kind of be a challenge in itself. And Jeremy was great about coming out, getting us stop signs, helping us out with everything we needed to kind of get a little control at those intersections. So again, I just wanted to say thank you to the street department for helping us out and the support that they show us.
Okay. Thanks, Brett. Okay. Let's see. Randy?
Nothing.
Ross?
Nothing, Mayor.
Steve?
Yes, after this session, there'll be a Economic Development Committee meeting. And having attended the Iowa League of Cities, I thought some of the sessions, particularly on TIF and tax abatement and LMI, were quite insightful. And I want to encourage the council to begin thinking about what are the goals we have for various things in terms of what institutes a tax abatement situation, and are there ways we can grow LMI money by doing different things, and looking toward our future of what we want to accomplish in terms of low and moderate income housing, as well as the economic development of our community.
You know, Steve, we had, I'm glad you brought that up, because I know that when we wrote the sustainability plan, the task was about, I mean, there was a thought behind, let's institute some building codes so that we have a base, and then let's think about abatements based on going above and beyond that, and also thinking about abatements for projects. And I do think the Sustainability Commission, which will be meeting again this Wednesday actually, is starting to figure out like what are their priorities. And I think if we say to them, we want this done, or we want this looked at specifically, and give them a time frame, I think they're ready and willing, and it's sort of within that framework that we charge them with. Just a thought.
Okay,
Also, Emily, the CEEE at UNI and ICLEI are reconvening some cohort sessions that will be meeting Tuesday at 10 a.m. to talk about what's going on. And they're particularly offering, instead of an intern, an extern. And we're looking at how they might help update some of that or work on some of the efficiency goals of the sustainability plan. So we're excited about that partnership.
Do you want to bring that to the commission? Do you want someone from the commission to plug into that now? Do you want to keep going and then update the commission? How do you want to work with the commission on that?
I was just planning to continue to be the cohort for a while. And then I talked to Jim Martin Schramm this morning about his availability, but it's during a probably Luther staff meeting time.
Yeah.
So not good for him, but anyway, we're trying to keep people in touch with it. Yeah.
Okay, good, good.
okay, anything else, Steve?
I'm going to move on now.
Okay, thank you. Emily?
No, I'll just make the announcement. There is a Sustainability Commission meeting this Wednesday. They moved off their regular date to accommodate the Board of Adjustment meeting. I don't have anything other than that.
Okay, Kurt?
Nothing, Mayor.
Andy?
Nothing at this time, Mayor.
Let's see, I've got Randy, you've got,
Does Ross have anything?
oh, I'm sorry.
All right. Yeah, I did, I forgot to set a committee meeting, 4:30, October 5th, prior to the council meeting. And again, we're going over our financial policy with Wanda.
If you make meetings at 4:30, it's really hard for Andy and I to be there. And I realize we're not on the budget committee, but it is sort of a time that there is no way as a council person to get there.
Well, it's going to take longer than a half hour, so if you want to stay afterwards, we'll be here late at night. I'd rather do it before the meeting, the budget committee. Last time the budget committee didn't show up for that meeting anyway. It was Ross and Steve that showed up, so.
But if they both cannot make, if they're on the committee and they can't make it at that time, then the option would have to be after the city council
After the
meeting.
council meeting,
Yeah,
and this
that's
could
good.
run an hour or better for the training. I was just trying to be respectful of people's time after the meeting.
I mean, like I said, if the budget committee can be there, that's fine. I'm just saying that in general.
Who's all on your budget committee meeting that affects, you know?
Well, Kirk and Andy.
Okay.
I can be there by 4:45.
Okay.
Should be there by 4:45.
Well, we can start at 4:45, and if we have to continue it after the council meeting, we will do that.
That works.
Yeah, that'll work. I just want to make sure that we make allowances for people who cannot get there right on time. Okay, let's see. Yeah, where am I at? I think that's it. Okay, I participated in the league meeting too. I was really impressed with their ability to put on a conference virtually. I felt that there was good participation in the sessions that I went to. I went to a couple that I thought were very good, and I hope to get some of the information, be able to pass on to you. I think they'll have it available electronically. One was civility in the workplace, as far as professional examples and for city council people. Consider words and actions, which they elaborated on a little bit more. I also went to one on resolutions and ordinances that I thought, and public hearings, which had very good guidelines as well, and I'll try and send that out. I'm also a member of the Mayor's Association listserv, and that everybody enjoyed it and would like to get together more. It's when all of the mayors get together and ask questions. It's extremely beneficial for some of the smaller towns, and all of the mayors come in at different times. Some of them were new in January and then going into the pandemic, so they had plenty of questions for that. But I thought it was very good. Only during the pandemic can you have a Saturday morning where there are beauticians on the street curling people's hair because they've got their curling irons plugged in, there's no electricity. Or you have a parade that's going down Water Street and there's no signs, and the police are out on the corner attempting to figure out how to get 4-lane people to go 4 or 5 different ways. And you know, it makes for interesting times, but we're very lucky to have the cooperation and the ability for people to adapt and pitch in when need be. I don't think I have any,
I forgot one more thing.
Sure.
I did meet with, virtually via Zoom. I met virtually via Zoom with Chopper and the Telecommunications Utility Board with a vendor, partner potential, and just looking into the continued possibility of fiber in Decorah. So it was a good meeting.
Good. Okay, anything else?
Yeah, Mayor, I would like to honor Wanda for her admittance into the League of Cities, League of Honor. I don't know what it's called, but good job, Wanda.
Hall of Fame.
Into the League's Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Yep, they did acknowledge both her and Judy on Friday towards the end of the meeting, so that was nice to see. Okay, we'll adjourn the city council.
Move to adjourn.